BlackCEO pulled from first class for a white passenger minutes later. She grounded the entire airline. Hello everyone, before we begin today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel is losing traction and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to the story. You need to get out of this seat right now. The words snapped like a slap cutting through the quiet hum of first class. Nicole Harris, crisp uniform, sharp jawline, stood over Amara Lewis, finger-pointed authority dripping from every syllable. The cabin froze. 6 rows of silence. Only the engine's low growl dared to answer. Amara didn't move. She sat perfectly still, phone in hand, her lime-green blouse glowing under the cabin lights like defiance made visible. Around her, passengers exchanged glances, polite confusion sliding into unease. "I said this seat isn't for your kind," Nicole repeated louder this time, voice slicing through the recycled air. A man 2 rows back coughed, pretending not to listen. A woman across the aisle whispered, "Did she just say?" but never finished. Amara looked up, calm as steel. "My kind?" she asked softly. Nicole's smile didn't reach her eyes. "You know exactly what I mean. Hand me your boarding pass." From behind a younger attendant, Mia stepped closer, hesitant. "Madam, I scanned her ticket. It's valid." Nicole shot her a glare sharp enough to wound. "Stay out of this, trainee." Amara exhaled slowly, thumb resting on her phone. She wasn't angry yet, just disappointed. She'd seen this scene before, same tone, same eyes, different uniform. 20 years of power didn't make her immune to arrogance. It only made her quieter when it happened. From the corner, a passenger lifted her phone recording. Another leaned forward, whispering, "This is going viral." Nicole snapped. "Sir, ma'am, please put that away. Airline policy." She turned back to Amara, her voice dropping to a hiss. "Either move to economy, or I'll have you removed before takeoff." Amara's eyes lifted, steady and patient. "You should verify my name before making that call," Nicole scoffed. "I don't need to. I can see what's happening here." The camera's red light blinked brighter. The air itself seemed to tilt. Before we continue, the narrator's voice cuts in, warm yet charged. "Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you believe in dignity and justice, hit like and subscribe. These stories spark change, and we're glad you're here." Now back to Amara. Nicole leaned in, her perfume sharp, her patience gone. "Stand up, now." Amara's phone buzzed once in her hand, a silent vibration like a reminder of power waiting to wake. She whispered almost to herself, "Rachel, standby protocol." Nicole frowned. "Excuse me." Amara finally met her eyes. Calm, precise. "You're about to make a very expensive mistake." Gasps rippled across the cabin. Even the man pretending to sleep opened one eye. Nicole's straightened jaw tight. "Are you threatening me?" Amara shook her head slowly. "No," she said, "just forecasting." Outside, the jet bridge door clanked shut. Inside, the air was no longer polite. It was charged electric seconds from breaking. And Amara, still seated, still silent, was the calmest storm the cabin had ever seen. The engines hummed steady and low as if nothing had happened. But every eye in first class was still on Amara. Nicole stood in the aisle, arms folded, jaw tight. "Security will handle this," she said, loud enough for the nearby rows to hear. Her voice wasn't just angry, it was performing. Amara didn't answer. She just adjusted the sleeve of her lime blouse and placed her phone face down on the armrest. Her silence made more noise than words ever could. From the galley, Mia peeked around the corner. Her hands shook slightly as she held the scanner. The boarding data glowed green, valid seat, verified name, Lewis Amara. She whispered to herself, "It's real." But Nicole caught her. "Is there a problem, trainee?" Mia froze. "No, ma'am." Nicole smirked, satisfied. Power for her was volume. Across the aisle, a businessman lowered his newspaper. "This is unnecessary," he muttered. Nicole turned sharply. "Sir, please stay seated." The man sank back, but his expression said enough. Amara glanced at him briefly, a quiet thank you in her eyes. Then she looked out the window. The tarmac glowed gold under the late afternoon light. A memory flickered 20 years earlier. Same tone, same accusation, different airport. A clerk telling her she couldn't afford a ticket she'd already paid for. She'd smiled then, too. Smiling was easier than begging. The intercom chimed softly. Cabin crew prepare doors for departure. Nicole straightened, composing herself, pretending control. Mia took a careful step forward. Miss Harris, she began, voice trembling. Maybe we should double-check the manifest, Nicole snapped. Enough, you're one flight away from being grounded, remember that. The words hit harder than intended. Mia stepped back, eyes burning. Emma, the woman with the phone, whispered. She's just trying to help. Nicole ignored her, leaned toward Amara again. Last chance. Move before security boards. Amara turned her head slow and deliberate. You're escalating your own mistake. Nicole's nostrils flared. Excuse me, I said. Amara repeated evenly. You're about to turn arrogance into unemployment. The cabin went utterly silent. Even the hum of the engines seemed to pause for her. Nicole straightened, forcing a laugh. You're threatening me again, huh? Amara didn't blink. No, just forecasting. From the cockpit, a door opened. The captain stepped out, confusion drawn across his face. What's the delay? Nicole gestured toward Amara. Fraudulent ticket, sir. Amara stayed seated, calm as ever. Captain, she said, her tone smooth as glass. You may want to verify that before takeoff. He hesitated. Something in her voice made him stop mid-step. And from the galley, Mia whispered under her breath, the line that would later echo across millions of screens. She's not wrong. Captain Daniel Pierce stood in the aisle, half-turned between duty and doubt. Ma'am, let's see your boarding pass, he said. Nicole jumped in fast. I already tore it, she handed me a fake. The word fake landed heavy. Several passengers gasped. Someone whispered, That's not right. Amara didn't move. She lifted her phone, slowly unlocked the screen with her thumb. Her voice calm, clipped. Rachel logged this moment. Timestamp cabin, A row 2. The captain blinked. Who are you calling documentation? She said simply. Nicole scoffed. Oh, she's recording us now. No, Amara replied. I don't need recordings. I prefer records. From 2 rows back, Emma still filmed, her lens shaking slightly. This is wild, she whispered. She hasn't even raised her voice. Mia stepped out from the galley again, unable to stay silent. Captain, her ticket scanned green. I saw it myself. Nicole spun toward her, eyes flashing. Mia, enough, you're done talking. But it's true. I said enough. Nicole barked, her voice slicing the air. The entire cabin froze. Even the hum of the overhead fans seemed to hold its breath. Amara turned her gaze toward Mia, soft but steady. Thank you, she said quietly. Integrity still flies higher than rank. Mia swallowed, hard eyes glistening. Nicole laughed once, sharp, nervous. Cute line, doesn't change protocol. She turned to the captain. Sir, we can't let her stay. We have VIPs boarding in a minute. Amara's head tilted slightly. Ah, so that's what this is about. Nicole frowned. What are you implying? I'm not implying, Amara said, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm observing. Then she reached for her purse, calm, deliberate. Nicole flinched instinctively, hand raised as if Amara had drawn a weapon. A ripple of tension swept the cabin. Amara only pulled out a sleek black envelope embossed in silver. Captain, she said, offering it forward, if you insist on proof, open this. He hesitated, then accepted it. Inside one document, a corporate ID and a letter stamped with the airline's crest. He read the first line, Lewis Holdings Equity Partner Horizon Air Group, his face drained of color. Nicole stepped closer, whispering fiercely, Don't fall for it, anyone can print that. The captain looked up, voice uncertain. Nicole, maybe we should know. She cut him off. She's bluffing. Amara leaned back, eyes cold but calm. Then verify it, she said. I'll wait. Behind them, a child whispered to her mother, Mom, is she in trouble? The mother shook her head slowly. No, baby, I think they are. The captain turned toward the cockpit, confusion written across his posture. Amara's phone buzzed again, one vibration, two, then silence. Her gaze didn't waver. The clock's ticking, she murmured. And arrogance burns fuel faster than engines. Nicole folded her arms, trying to laugh it off, but her voice cracked. Passengers leaned forward, phones lifted higher. The storm had arrived. It just hadn't struck yet. It started with a single voice. Excuse me, Emma said from row 3, her phone still recording. She paid for that seat. I saw the ticket scan green. Nicole turned sharply. Ma'am, this is an internal matter. No, Emma cut her off. It's discrimination. And it's on camera. The tension broke like glass. Every passenger who had been pretending not to notice now looked up. One man lowered his noise-canceling headphones. Another unbuckled his seatbelt. From the aisle behind, a teenager raised his phone, whispering, This is going online. Nicole's smile tightened, the kind people wear when they've already lost control. Phones away or we'll delay departure. But it was too late. The story had already left the ground. Amara still sat motionless posture, straight voice steady. You don't need to defend me, she told Emma softly. Emma shook her head. Someone has to. The captain exhaled, rubbing his forehead. Nicole, can we handle this quietly? She snapped back. Sir, she's occupying a VIP seat under false identity. Mia stepped forward again, trembling but resolute. Sir, she said louder now, the system shows her name, Amara Lewis. I verified it twice. The cabin went quiet. Nicole's eyes narrowed like blades. You've done enough damage, Mia. Step back. Mia didn't move. I won't lie for you. The silence that followed felt heavy electric. Even the hum of the cabin lights seemed to falter. A man in business class shouted, She's right, let the woman sit down. Another passenger clapped, once hesitant, but loud enough to echo. Then more voices joined, murmurs turning into sentences. This isn't right. Let her stay. You can't just throw people out. Nicole's composure cracked. Everyone calmed down, but the air no longer belonged to her. Amara finally rose from her seat, slow and deliberate like someone reclaiming gravity. Her voice was calm but carried through the cabin. You all saw what happened. I don't need to convince you. I just need truth documented. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced down. A message flashed across the screen, Rachel protocol in motion. Finance freeze confirmed. A flicker of resolve crossed her face. She turned to Nicole. You said this seat wasn't for my kind. Nicole's lips parted. No sound. Amara continued. Turns out it's my company's seat, and my patience has limits. Gasps rippled through the aisle. The captain stared speechless. Emma whispered, Oh my God. Mia exhaled a shaky breath. She's telling the truth. Nicole stammered. You're bluffing. Amara's gaze didn't waver. You can call it a bluff. The board will call it grounds for termination. Passengers erupted. Some clapping, some shouting, all alive with disbelief. For the first time since takeoff was delayed, Amara smiled, not with triumph but with certainty. The witnesses had risen, and the cabin had just turned into a courtroom. The captain's radio crackled. Ground control requesting status update, a voice said through static. But inside the cabin, order had already broken. Nicole's voice rose over the noise. Everyone calm down. This is not a circus. Her hands trembled as she straightened her jacket, trying to rebuild authority from the scraps left on the floor. Amara remained standing, calm, centered, unbothered. Sit down, Nicole demanded. You're obstructing the crew. Amara tilted her head slightly. Am I, or am I reminding you what obstruction really looks like? That line hung in the air, sharp as a blade. A child whispered, Mom, what's happening? The mother murmured, Something important. Nicole's jaw tightened. Security's coming, she said, voice cracking just enough to betray the fear behind it. Amara nodded slowly. Then we'll wait for them together. She picked up her phone again, thumb gliding across the screen. Nicole lunged forward, snatching it from her hand. You can't record flight crew, federal law! Gasps rippled through the cabin. Amara didn't move. She just stared at the stolen phone resting in Nicole's grip. That's theft, she said quietly. And that recording wasn't yours to touch. Nicole's voice shook. You think you can intimidate me with your fancy words? Amara's tone didn't rise. No, I'll let the audit team do that. The captain took a cautious step closer. Nicole, give her the phone. She's manipulating everyone, Nicole shouted. You people don't understand. This woman is dangerous. Dangerous, Amara repeated softly. To who your ego? The words hit like thunder. The passengers murmured, phones raised again, lenses glowing red. Mia stepped closer, voice trembling but clear. Miss Harris, stop. This isn't protocol. This is panic. Nicole's shoulders stiffened. You're fired effective immediately. Mia didn't flinch. You don't have that power anymore. The captain finally spoke firmer now. Nicole, that's enough. But Nicole was past reason. She pointed at Amara, shouting for the entire cabin to hear. She doesn't belong here. Look at her. She's lying. She never finished. Amara stepped forward, voice cutting through the shouting like lightning. Enough. The word carried weight. It silenced everything. Her phone buzzed in Nicole's hand, the screen flashing board-approved executive hold on all Horizon Air accounts. Nicole froze, reading the message meant for no one but Amara. What is this? She whispered. Amara extended her hand. Proof, she said simply. The captain looked between them, realization dawning. Oh my God, she's telling the truth. Nicole's fingers loosened. The phone slid back into Amara's palm. She didn't smirk. She didn't gloat. She just whispered, "You should have verified before you vilified." The cabin erupted in murmurs again, half disbelief, half awe. And in that charged silence, as the lights flickered overhead, one truth became impossible to ignore. Nicole had crossed a line she could never step back from. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The cabin, once polished and polite, had turned into something else, an arena. Amara stood in the center of it, calm, composed, unmoved. Her phone, now back in her hand, glowed softly like a command key waiting to be pressed. Nicole backed away half a step. You can't actually do anything," she stammered. Amara's gaze met hers. "That's the difference between can't and won't." She tapped the screen once. A low chime echoed from the device, subtle but final. Rachel's voice came through the speaker, crisp and composed. Protocol 10 initiated. Board notified. Financial systems on hold. "Confirm, ma'am?" "Confirmed," Amara said. The captain blinked. "Wait, what does that mean?" Amara didn't look at him. "It means this plane won't move until accountability does." Gasps spread through the cabin. Emma whispered, "Did she just freeze the airline?" Mia swallowed hard. "She can." Nicole laughed nervously, desperate for control. "Oh, please, you're bluffing again. None of this is real." Then her radio crackled, static, followed by a male voice. "Attention crew, internal operations hold confirmed. All flights delayed pending executive clearance." Every head turned. The words hit like thunder. The captain grabbed his headset. "Ground, confirm that order." The reply came cold and official, "Confirmed." Authorization tag Lewis Holdings. He turned slowly toward Amara. You're that Lewis?" Amara gave a small nod. "I was hoping to fly quietly today, but silence only protects the wrong people." The passengers erupted, whispers, gasps, a few cheers. Phones lifted higher. Mia stepped closer, eyes wide. "Ma'am, what do you want us to do?" Amara looked around the cabin, her tone low but steady. "Nothing. Just remember what you saw. That's how change starts." Nicole was pale now, gripping the back of a seat for balance. "This can't be happening," she muttered. You can't just stop everything." Amara's reply was calm, surgical. "I didn't stop everything. I paused in justice midair." The captain finally exhaled, removing his hat. "Miss Lewis's, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize," she said. "Just repair." From the back, a voice called out, "She owned the airline." Someone else answered, "She is the airline." Nicole covered her face, realizing too late the magnitude of what she'd done. Amara took one step closer, not to humiliate, but to end it. "Miss Harris," she said softly, "you made a choice. You mistook dignity for weakness. You forgot who you serve when you wear that uniform." Nicole didn't reply. Her silence was its own confession. Amara turned to the captain. "Ground this aircraft?" "Effective now." He nodded without hesitation. "Yes, ma'am." And as the engines powered down, a strange quiet filled the cabin, the sound of a system finally forced to listen. The engines died one by one, a soft sinking hum that faded into silence. Power without motion, noise without flight. The lights flickered, dimmed, then stabilized in a low amber glow. You could feel it, the entire aircraft holding its breath. Nicole's headset crackled again, frantic voices on the other end. "Flight 207 confirm. We just got a system freeze across the entire network payroll. Fuel booking, everything's down." Her lips trembled. "That's impossible, Otter." Amara turned her head slightly, voice calm, almost compassionate. "No, it's accountability. It just arrived faster than your understanding." The captain sank into the jump seat, headset off, staring at the cockpit door as if it could explain any of this. He whispered, "All flights are grounded." The tower's in shock. Emma leaned forward, still filming, her voice unsteady. "You actually did it. You froze the airline." Amara didn't blink. "Not the airline," she said. "The arrogance that kept it flying," passengers murmured among themselves, disbelief turning into quiet awe. A businessman across the aisle muttered, "I've been a shareholder for 10 years, never thought I'd see justice board a plane." Someone clapped once, then another. The sound grew not like applause, but like recognition. Nicole stood motionless, hands clasped tightly in front of her. Her voice cracked. "I was just doing my job." Amara faced her squarely. "No, you were protecting your prejudice and calling it policy." The words hit harder than any shout could. Nicole's chin wavered, eyes glassy. "I didn't know. That's the problem. Amara interrupted softly. You never asked. Behind her, Mia exhaled, tears forming. Miss Lewis, she whispered. Thank you. I almost spoke up sooner. Amara placed a gentle hand on her arm. You did. That's what matters. The captain turned, humbled, his voice steady now. Orders from HQ, all crew to remain on board until cleared by executive office. He looked at Amara, hesitant. That's you, isn't it? Amara nodded once. Until I decide otherwise. From the cabin speakers, a faint chime sounded, system alerts repeating the freeze code. Somewhere in the airport, dozens of screens were already flashing red Financial Hold Lewis Holdings directive. Emma whispered to the camera. She stopped a billion-dollar airline mid-air. And someone answered from the back, because they wouldn't let her sit. Amara closed her eyes briefly, taking one quiet breath. When she opened them, there was no anger left, only authority, clean and absolute. She spoke to no one and everyone at once. Lesson number 1, she said. Power doesn't shout. It simply redefines the silence. The words settled into the still air like truth itself. And for the first time since boarding, everyone understood who had truly been flying the plane all along. The silence didn't last long. It never does when truth finally takes off. Phones were still raised across the cabin screens, glowing like fireflies. Emma's live stream had passed 100,000 viewers, the chat exploding with disbelief. She owns the airline. That flight attendant's career is done. Finally, someone with power calling it out in real time. The captain's radio buzzed nonstop. Voices from ground control, corporate offices, news outlets, all demanding answers. But Amara didn't move. She just sat back down, fastening her seatbelt with the same calm precision as before. Nicole stood frozen in the aisle, her hands trembling around the fabric of her uniform. They're watching this, Mia nodded quietly. They're all watching. From the speakers overhead came a soft ping, followed by an automated voice. Attention passengers, this flight has been delayed due to an internal operations review. The irony drew a few nervous laughs, but Amara didn't smile. She simply looked ahead, eyes steady, as if watching the weight of her decision unfold across an invisible horizon. Emma turned the camera toward her, voice trembling. Miss Lewis, can I ask, did you mean to go public? Amara didn't look into the lens. No, she said, but injustice never keeps secrets. The cabin erupted in murmurs again, admiration, shock, awe. A young woman whispered, she could have yelled, but she didn't. A man replied, that's the difference between rage and resolve. Down the aisle, Nicole's phone began to buzz, message after message flooding her screen. News alerts, mentions, headlines already forming. Black executive halts major airline over first-class incident. Her knees nearly buckled. I didn't mean, she started, but the words crumbled under their own weight. Amara turned toward her, voice firm but not cruel, meaning doesn't erase impact. You taught this flight a lesson. Now it's teaching you back. Maya swallowed, glancing at the camera. Ma'am, the video's trending everywhere. How fast? Amara asked. Worldwide fast. Amara nodded once. Then maybe for once accountability travels faster than shame. The captain stood beside her seat, now humbled. What would you like us to do next, Miss Lewis? Amara looked up, voice soft but absolute. Ground every Horizon flight until bias is retrained and policy rewritten, effective immediately. He hesitated. That's thousands of flights, millions of passengers, I know, she interrupted, but it'll cost less than silence ever did. Gasps rippled through the rows. No one spoke after that. They just looked at her, this quiet woman who'd turned a humiliation into a headline and a delay into a declaration. Outside the window, the runway lights shimmered in the dusk. Somewhere out there, justice had just gone viral. The storm had left the cabin, but it was spreading across the world. Within minutes, newsrooms from New York to Nairobi were flashing the same headline: BlackCEO halts. $900 May airline in mid-flight discrimination showdown. Inside the plane, every device buzzed at once, breaking news notifications lighting up like fireworks. Emma's stream crossed 2 million views. The hashtag number Amara Lewis trended at number 1 in less than 12 minutes. The captain's radio crackled again, voices tripping over each other. Command to Flight 207, confirm if Miss Amara Lewis is on board. She's calling from internal operations. The captain looked down the aisle at the calm woman seated in 2 amperes. Yes, he said quietly. She's here. The voice on the radio trembled. Then confirm her directive. All systems are locked per executive order. Nicole's knees gave way. She gripped the headrest beside her to stay upright. This can't be real. Amara turned to her gently. Reality's the only thing that doesn't need your permission. She stood again, moving to the center of the aisle. Every head turned. No uniform, no badge, just presence. Command without announcement. I didn't plan for any of this, she began, her tone even but full of weight. I boarded this flight like anyone else, expecting professionalism, not prejudice. I stayed quiet because I wanted peace. But peace without justice isn't peace, it's paralysis. Her words hung in the air like a verdict. She continued, I'm not a guest here. I'm a partner in Horizon Air. And today I've grounded my own company not out of anger but accountability. Gasps rippled through the cabin. Phones lifted again, passengers recording history in real time. Mia pressed her hand to her mouth, whispering, She really is the owner? Emma's voice trembled. She's not just the owner, she's rewriting how power sounds. Nicole's mascara streaked down her face. Ms. Lewis, please, I didn't mean. Amara stopped her with a raised hand. Stop saying mean. Start saying did. She stepped closer, her tone. Not cruel, but surgical. You saw my skin, not my name. You saw a stereotype, not a seat assignment. And you made a choice, one that echoed through $1 billion system because it was never about me. It was about every person you've ever made small. The cabin was silent except for the soft clicking of phone cameras. Even the air felt reverent. Amara took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping the rows. This airline will fly again. But not until everyone here understands one thing: you can't soar on prejudice and call it policy. The captain stood, head bowed slightly in respect. Miss Lewis, he said softly, the tower's asking if they should issue a press statement. Amara nodded. Yes, tell them the truth. Say Horizon Air is under review. Effective immediately. Nicole's voice barely carried. What's going to happen to me? Amara turned back, eyes calm, voice steady. That depends, she said. Do you want to learn or do you want to leave? Nicole's lips trembled, but she didn't answer. Amara walked back to her seat, slow and deliberate, every step a lesson. As she sat, the camera phones followed her movement, their red lights reflecting against the window like distant city lights. Then she said the line that would replay across millions of screens that night, You thought you were removing me from first class. Turns out you just removed ignorance from the sky. Applause broke out, soft at first, then rising not in noise but in meaning. And for the first time that day, the aircraft truly felt lighter. By the time Flight 207 was towed back to the gate, the world was already watching. Cable news anchors spoke over each other. Hashtags multiplied faster than the airline could draft statements. Inside Horizon Air's glass headquarters, executives crowded around a conference table, phones buzzing like alarms. Someone muttered, She actually froze $900 million in assets. Another whispered, We can't even refuel planes. Every system's locked. At the far end of the table, the CFO stared at the big screen. Amara's face, filling it, captured mid-speech from Emma's live stream. She grounded us without raising her voice, he said. That's leadership and indictment. Meanwhile, back on the tarmac, reporters had already gathered near Gate 14. Camera flashes hit the windows as passengers deplaned slowly, some shielding their faces, some smiling through disbelief. Every one of them had a story now, and a video to prove it. Mia followed behind Amara, staying close but silent. They're outside, she whispered. Amara nodded. Let them be. Nicole trailed a few paces behind her, once crisp uniform, now wrinkled eyes red from tears. She tried to speak. Miss Lewis, please, Amara stopped her gently. Not here. Not for the cameras. Security personnel arrived, unsure who to escort. They looked at Amara, waiting. She handed them her ID, Lewis Holdings executive chair. The lead officer blinked, swallowed hard, and stepped aside. Ma'am, the terminal's yours. The passengers broke into scattered applause as she passed. Not loud, respectful. A man called out, Thank you for standing up without shouting. She turned slightly, offering him a small nod. That's the only kind of standing that lasts. Outside, the air was thick with camera shutters and questions. Miss Lewis. Why freeze your own airline? Are you firing the staff involved? Was this personal? Amara paused at the terminal doors, her reflection split between glass and flashlights. It was never personal, she said. It was structural, and it ends now. The clip hit every major network before she even reached the car waiting at the curb. In less than an hour, Horizon's stock paused trading. By sunset, the company board had convened an emergency session. And somewhere in that boardroom, someone finally said the words the world had already learned. She didn't embarrass us. She exposed us. Back in the car, Amara sat in silence as the city lights flickered past. Her phone vibrated with messages from journalists, lawyers, and shareholders, all demanding her attention. But she didn't answer. Not yet. Through the tinted glass, she watched another plane glide overhead, its lights tracing through the sky. For the first time in years, she thought maybe justice finally flies at the right altitude. The next morning, Horizon Air woke up to itself. Every news outlet from CNN to the BBC ran the same headline: CEO Amara Lewis grounds airline for discrimination. Entire crew under review. The footage from Flight 207 had reached 50 million views overnight. It wasn't just trending anymore. It was testimony. At 8:00 a.m., Amara entered the headquarters building, the same tower where the board once questioned her fit to lead because she didn't look corporate enough. Now, the same executives stood as she passed. No greetings, no small talk, only silence dressed as respect. In the boardroom, the air felt colder than the steel table. The interim chairman cleared his throat. "Miss Lewis, the situation is under control," she said calmly, taking her seat. "Mine." On the screen behind her, live feeds from airports across the country showed grounded aircraft, idle crews, waiting passengers. "Every delay costs us millions," one director murmured. "Every silence used to cost us more," Amara replied. She tapped her tablet. Instantly, documents appeared on the shared monitor: disciplinary notices, termination forms, retraining protocols. Nicole Harris, immediate dismissal. Captain Daniel Pierce, retained with commendation for restraint. Mia Flores, promoted to senior cabin supervisor, effective immediately. Gasps circled the table. One executive whispered, "You're moving fast." Amara turned to him, unblinking. "Justice doesn't run on your schedule." Her assistant Rachel entered quietly, handing her a folder stamped "Press Release Final." Amara scanned it once, then looked up. "Send it live," she said. Moments later, every major network cut to the broadcast, Amara standing before a Horizon Air logo, microphone steady in her hand. Her tone was calm, deliberate. "Yesterday, a passenger was removed from her seat because someone saw color instead of credentials. That passenger was me. And as of this morning, Horizon Air is under full executive review. We're grounding not just planes, but prejudice. Effective immediately, all employees will undergo anti-bias retraining before returning to service." She paused, letting the silence do its work. "This company was built to fly people safely, not to rank them by shade or suit. We can't reach altitude without equality." Reporters shouted questions, but she simply nodded once stepping away from the podium. No dramatic music, no applause, only the echo of truth filling a space too long silent. Back in the boardroom, no one spoke. One director finally whispered, "You didn't just make a statement, Amara. You made history." Amara looked out the window, the skyline bathed in early sunlight. "No," she said softly, "I just enforced policy. The world's the one writing history." And somewhere across 1,000 grounded runways, justice began taxiing for takeoff. By dusk, the sky over Los Angeles shimmered in muted gold. Hundreds of Horizon jets lined up along the runways, engines' quiet tails gleaming like monuments. The world had stopped to watch what accountability looked like when it finally put on a suit. Inside the corporate hangar, Amara stood alone. The echo of her footsteps filled the empty space, quiet, steady, deliberate. Rachel approached, tablet in hand. "Media's calling it the flight that changed aviation," she said. Amara smiled faintly. "Let them call it whatever helps them learn." Her phone buzzed with new notifications, messages from other CEOs, civil rights groups, even the Department of Transportation. One text simply read, "You made us all look in the mirror." She didn't reply. She just stared out the glass wall at the silent aircraft beyond. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel like resistance. It felt like reckoning. Footsteps echoed behind her. It was Mia, still in uniform, standing at the doorway. "They reinstated my ID," she said, voice trembling. "Thank you." Amara turned, warmth breaking through her composure. "Don't thank me. You earned it the moment you spoke." Mia hesitated. "What happens now?" Amara looked back toward the planes. "They'll fly again, but differently. Everyone will." Rachel glanced at the schedule update on her tablet. "First retraining starts tomorrow." "You really meant 24 hours, I did," Amara said. "Justice doesn't nap." For a moment, the three women stood there. Three silhouettes framed against the glow of grounded aircraft, symbols of power rewritten. Outside, news crews set up near the fence line. A journalist's voice carried faintly through the hangar doors, And while the company's losses reach hundreds of millions, public support for Amara Lewis grows by the hour. She's being called the woman who grounded prejudice. Rachel smiled softly. They've already made you a legend. Amara shook her head. Legends are what people build when they stop building systems. I'm not done yet. She stepped forward toward the open tarmac. Wind lifted the edges of her coat, her shadow stretching long across the concrete. Her voice was low, but it carried. They called me angry when I was honest, difficult when I was direct, and today disruptive when I demanded equality. If disruption is the cost of dignity, she paused, glancing back toward the horizon, then may we never fly quietly again. Rachel watched her walk away into the descending sunset, her silhouette framed by the reflection of her own aircraft, a black woman whose calm had changed an empire. And as the final line of her press statement rolled across the world that night, every headline echoed the same truth she'd lived by: I don't need to film justice. I am the evidence it exists.